Hello, all. This week should be a little bit lighter in terms of homework. We're on week 6, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the assignments to expect coming up. Um, but ultimately, also to be thinking about the end of the semester, we are in week 6 starting tomorrow, and we only have week 7 and week 8, and these 2 weeks are going to be light on homework as well because your major writing assignments will be due. So do expect to spend more time writing and less time looking at student examples of things, doing some of the readings, and doing forums because we're going to be cutting that back substantially. So the first thing that I wanted you guys to do is look at the copyright, fair, right, and plagiarism YouTube video, and then also read these two overviews of plagiarism put out by the MLA Purdue OWL website. If you click on the actual link, hopefully my internet will move a little bit quicker tonight. Excuse me. What it's going to do is it's going to take you to the actual link and the two website links for both of these articles. If the links aren't working, always feel free to just copy and paste them into your browser and hopefully that will work as well. If we go back to our assignment list, what we're going to find next, if this goes back soon enough, and I guess one of the reasons I can talk about while this is moving to the coursework page is that part of the reason that I do talk about plagiarism so much, especially when it comes to the RBA final and first drafts, is this is where a lot of students sometimes accidentally mess up and don't realize what plagiarism is and get in some trouble in the class. And so I just wanted to kind of remind you that this is a major issue and it happens very often on this paper just because it is so research heavy and I don't want you guys to accidentally plagiarize. Here is an article that I do want you to read. You can click on this article or you can click on the article under coursework. I've included a link there if you just click on this, but also you can copy and paste it directly from the assignment. And then this Huffington Post article, An English Teacher's View on the Trump Plagiarism Issue, is actually a part of this forum assignment. We are going to talk a little bit about this forum assignment because this article many see as controversial, and I do have to agree that what's been going on in politics lately is for some very controversial, for some others. So in this, since we're talking a little bit about politics, please pay attention to this specific paragraph. It says, please read the article and complete the forum based on the article's advice about someone in a position of power and not to tie your discussion points to your views on the politics of Donald Trump and his administration. In this forum, please discuss the problems you see with plagiarism based on the author's point of view and your opinions. So I want you to really think about plagiarism and just think about what happens when plagiarism, while it's happening in English classes at the high school and college level, we rarely really talk about what's going on in the workforce, media, politics, music industry, etc. And although it still happens in those industries, it's happening and it's illegal, so we have to be considering those ideas. Um, Also, I've included the article link here, and then in the forum, consider discussing these ideas if you have nothing else that you can think of on your own to talk about with the article. Think about if it's how it's an issue outside of the academic community. What are some of those moral implications of plagiarizing materials in other people's work? Do you agree or disagree with that article's thesis? Why or why not? Choose a sentence in the text. Why did the statement intrigue you? Analyze that statement. And then choose a peer post that you agree with, why you might agree, and provide some textual evidence. And also, if you don't want to do that, you can always choose a peer that you disagree with and start a little bit of an opposing viewpoint and try to explain and argue to that individual. Obviously, argue academically to that individual why you have that opposing view and provide some of that textual evidence. So, there's a little bit up here about kind of what plagiarism is, but ultimately, what you need to do is your reading should be a minimum of 100 words and your peer response should be a minimum of 50 words. So, how you guys do that's going to be up to you. So that will be what I'm expecting from you with that forum. All right. We're going to also go back to coursework and take a look at a couple other assignments that we have throughout the week, and we are getting close to the end. And what those will look like, if this ever goes. is we are, after the plagiarism forum, left with RBA Sketch 3, which is an outline. This outline is very specific. You're going to need to access the outline assignment either under the coursework or under resources, but I'm going to click on it and talk to you guys a little bit about this outline because it's going to force you to integrate resources into your arguments before you actually get those arguments onto the page to make sure that everything is clearly articulated and we have the actual argument. So I'm going under downloads to just find where this thing downloaded. And we're having a little trouble here, so I'm just going to go to Sketch 3, try it this way. And for your outline, I do expect, so we have this pulled up here, that you must include your working thesis. So this is important here at the top of your outline. You need to have rough topic sentences for each paragraph and at least one integrated source and explanation in the so what factor per body paragraph. I'm going to explain what that means here with an example here below. So it's going to be based on basically organization soundness of your argument and what your current sources are and what they're saying about your argument. So you need to incorporate your research under your topic points and not within those topic sentences. I do expect you to think critically about the topic you choose to discuss. So this is the example below. Now keep in mind that this word length is going to be more than 250 words, likely, depending on how many paragraphs you would like to outline for your paper. Remember, before we get started, your thesis statement should cover all of your topics within your outline and be related, and you need to be writing in full sentences for the thesis topic sentences and supporting evidence, where you're integrating your source with a signal phrase and including a parenthetical citation. You're including an explanation of the source, and you're including a so what factor or significance of this quote and explanation to your thesis. So this outline only includes 3 topic points or body paragraphs, so be aware that you might have 1 to 3 more topic points or body paragraphs than this example shows. And this example specifically is on obesity and government intervention. I have a working thesis, and you see how I've labeled this all out. You can choose to mimic this format. Outline formats are a little bit different. I do suggest you still use Times New Roman font 12 and have a heading at the top of your paper, but if you'd like to single space it and break it up this way, you can. So my working thesis is an individual's weight should be a governmental concern because the medical costs associated with weight-related issues cost taxpayer money, retailers of unhealthy foods need to be regulated, and children need to have better options for diet and exercise made available to them. That is all the working thesis. Technically, this could be broken up into a couple of sentences if that student would have liked to, and we do have some issues with some parallelism in the thesis in this essay map, but ultimately it's organized and I have an idea of what to expect throughout the paper. The first body paragraph should deal with medical costs and what taxpayers are paying as far as money. And here we have body paragraph 1 talking about medical costs, weight-related issues, and taxes. So that relates. Then the supporting evidence for this first topic that we're talking about has the actual signal phrase, Frank et al. Explains. Then we have quotation marks around the actual material that this individual would like to put in their paper. And we have an in-text citation. This was found on page 195. We have an explanation. So this quote is talking about how much money, specifically $147 billion in the United States, is spent on obesity and obesity-related illnesses. The explanation does just what it sounds like. It explains this previous evidence or this previous quote. So here it says this demonstrates not only the connection between obesity, medical costs, and increased taxes, but also shows the exact dollar number costs from a fairly recent year. So this is relevant information, and that's explaining why, what this statement's talking about. The so what is relating it back to that thesis and that topic, which becomes an individual's weight should be a governmental concern. This quote supports the claim that weight-related medical issues contribute to increased taxes for taxpayers by explaining the connection and demonstrating the high dollar cost to show this is a current problem affecting government process, taxation, and therefore could appropriately be addressed by government intervention. We have government intervention and why this even matters at all, why our first topic matters at all. So we're relating that back to the thesis statement as well. Body paragraph 2 does the exact same thing, where it's talking about the issue is the unhealthy food market. And here we have talk of the retailers of unhealthy foods that need to be regulated. We have supporting evidence. We have an article here. It looks like the same type of an article that was in the first evidence. So you can use multiple quotes for your evidence from the same source. We have an explanation of what this quote is actually saying about the meals being consumed and a possible solution with the fat tax. And then here we have the so what could this do to help with the obesity problem in America. And we have body paragraph 3, which I'll let you go through on your own. But this outline turned out to be about 437 words. So this outline should be all incomplete sentences. We should be including our working thesis. I should be able to basically understand your entire paper before you even write it based on your evidence, your explanations, and how they're relating back to those thesis statements. So make sure you spend some time with this, because this is going to cut out a lot of your legwork towards the end of this paper and get it organized before you even start writing it. So that is sketch 3. And if we go back to my portal and the coursework here, we will find that that will be due on Wednesday, and for Friday you only need to read a student example, and that student example is on of an RBA essay is on nuclear power, and we'll go down to it right here. And that will be due on Friday. Here's the student example, and here is the forum. The actual document is listed under both of these assignments. With this forum, you will need to respond to 2 different peers, and this will be very similar to the other grade, the essay forum that we did, where you have a 100-word minimum, 50-word response for 2 peer posts, and use that essay grading rubric to actually grade and give an account of what it was that you graded on the student's paper and why you gave them the grade that you did. And then if we go back to coursework, so that will be for Friday. And finally, when we go back to week 6, on Sunday, you have to reread all the requirements for the RBA essay and get that first draft ready and ready to be edited for the peer reviews that are coming up in week 7. For week 7, we just have that peer review on Wednesday, and that's through Turnitin.com's PeerMark. You will need to follow the checklist and complete the checklist that I give you based on the bubbles in the PeerMark function, and you do need to answer the questions within the PeerMark function that asks about readability, clear and conciseness, and those bigger overreaching questions that we can kind of write about a little bit and rate. The other thing I wanted to mention is you need to complete 2 peer reviews and 1 self-review of those papers, so you have 3 total. If you don't turn in a first draft, your paper won't be distributed into this assignment, but you will still be required to edit others' papers. Also, that final draft then will be due next week on Sunday, and these are the only 2 assignments you have for this week, because we really need to focus on getting this first draft very polished, pristine, research in place, and as close to perfect as we can possibly get it. So that is why you won't have a lot of assignments. Week 7, these will be the only 2, and this is all we have for week 6. So if you have any questions whatsoever, as always, please feel free to email me, call me if you need to, if email is not working for you. And as always, let me know if you have any questions or concerns, or you notice anything funky, and I will be happy to try and help you and fix it all up. So thanks a lot. Have a great week.